I had a job at the 4Kids company a few years back, the company that did the poorly made Sonic X dubs. I didn't care about the dubs though, I only wanted my money, and I hated the show anyway. Sonic was dead to me by then. On the internet I heard a rumor that Sega wanted to continue the horrible abominated wreck, but 4Kids refused to give up copyright for the show, so it was discontinued. I heard a colleague of mine and the boss talking about the future of Sonic X and them refusing to give Cosmo, character of the third season, to BioWare, who wanted to use her for the new game Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. I wanted to ignore the conversation and wanted to proceed on copying my papers when suddenly the words Episode 79 fell. Okay, I hated that anime so much because of that pink hedgehog Amy Rose who was constantly chasing after Sonic with her slutty dress and the high-pitched annoying voice. Don't we all? But I knew there were only 78 episodes. I stopped and walked over to the two, asking about the episode, but my colleague told me they already got rid of it. I shrugged it off and went back to doing my work. At 4 p.m. I could finally go home, but when I passed the trash containers by the facility, curiously, it should be curiosity, took over me, and I peeked inside. I noticed a DVD case without any cover, but a CD inside. I took it out and brushed off the dirt. The DVD had episode 79 written on it with a black permanent marker. Bingo. I had found the lost episode. Looking around, I didn't see anyone watching me, so I took the DVD case with me. I wasn't really excited about the episode and hoped it wasn't some stupid Zanami crap polluting my television screen. I only wanted to pull the episode onto my computer and post it on YouTube to gain some fame. I got home and the first thing I did was put my bag away and get myself some dinner. For some reason I was really hungry. When I came back from work the next week, on a Wednesday, I remembered the DVD case still laying around somewhere in my living room. I walked over and opened the case. It had Project Sonic Episode 79 on it, also with permanent marker. I noticed it was starting to rain and I closed the window to make sure nothing gets wet. After I cleaned the DVD, it was in the trash can after all, I walked over to my HD TV and put the DVD inside my DVD player. Let's see what'll come up, I thought to myself. The DVD started instantly with the well-known intro from the third season of Sonic X. The annoying theme song blared in the speakers of my television. Nothing odd until I saw there was actually the Japanese logo instead of the English one. I guess I snagged a non-dubbed version. I was glad not to see the fucked up edits 4Kids dared to do. I could understand a lot of Japanese being a proud weeaboo, with dashes in between, anime fan in parentheses. I'm sure you knew what I'm talking about. The intro ended with each character posing in a group picture with Eggman in the background. I noticed Chris missing from the group picture. I guess it was some tweak since Chris left to his home in episode 78. Just as the image faded to black, a loud thunderclap managed to cause a power failure. It was only my house when I asked my neighbors about it. My laptop was still working since I left it on and now ran on battery, so I manually opened the disc platform. My DVD player could be opened manually. It had a button that opened the case that worked without any power, like a Nintendo GameCube for example, and took the DVD out before closing it again and inserted it into my laptop. Surprisingly, it didn't play the DVD, but showed the insides of the DVD, computer files. Next to the DVD's main file, I noticed there was a folder called PRISA. Confused at the name of the mysterious folder, I opened it out of curiosity and showed it an alternative DVD file. I double-clicked it and it started to play the file, soon to be disappointed by a constant black screen. But I've waited patiently for the beginning of the intro, but it didn't come. I waited for about 5 minutes before moving my mouse to close the file. I did not forget. I jumped at the distorted female voice as the screen flashed red for a split second. I closed out the file. That moment nearly gave me a heart attack. The thunderstorm outside of my window was getting worse and louder. It was getting closer. Since everything already shut off, I didn't bother about it and exited the folder to play the original file. It played the intro, Chris still missing. The episode started with Amy and Cream sitting by a table with Vanilla, Cream's mother. They were enjoying cake and tea. I was disappointed when Amy started to cry out for Sonic's love again. Vanilla suddenly slammed her fist down on the table and leaned close to Amy. "You know nothing about love, you moron/idiot!" she yelled at her. Cream cringed and backed away, Cheese making his usual chow noises, looking sad as Cream hugged him close. Do chow have gender? I've always been curious. That's how I lost him! That's how she lost who? Oh wait, I'm sure you know Cream never had a father. Thus, Vanilla had no husband. I guess it wasn't true love then, Amy taunted Vanilla instead of being reasonable. The camera zoomed in on Cream, who blinked at as a flashback started. No white borders, thank goodness, with Cream and Vanilla walking along a park. Cream was holding a picnic basket. After a second, she asked her mother where her father was. Vanilla glared at Cream, who cringed and became quiet. It returned to the current scene with Vanilla, slapping Amy across the face. How dare you speak of like that? The name was interrupted by the screen going black. For that exact moment, the name should have been told. I was disappointed, Vanilla continued. Amy, now on the floor, staring up at her. He was a hero you will never be. He gave up his life for all of us. Amy scoffed and got up, pouting angrily as she dusted her dress off. No one's a bigger hero than my Sonic can. Vanilla pointed towards the exit. Leave! Amy idly waved her hand at Vanilla before exiting the building. Cream pleaded for Amy to come back, but the scene already showed Amy walking away from Vanilla's house. Vanilla pulled out a tissue as she started to cry. Cream walked over, worried about her mother. Vanilla bent down to Cream and gently hugged her, crying softly. Cream looked over and Vanilla asked the question I had in my mind. Who is my father? As Vanilla sat down and pulled Cream on to her lap, the screen cut to black again. I sighed softly in disappointment, but patiently waited for the screen to return. I did not forget what you did to me. This time I didn't really need to jump. It was the same female voice that had scared me in the other file, but much calmer and less distorted. It was soft, and it sounded sad. It was not Vanilla or any other voice actor of the Japanese cast. I shrugged it off and continued to stare at my black screen. The screen returned with Amy knocking on Sonic's door, calling his name lovingly. Sonic's house was similar to the living room you see in the storybook series with stairs going up. Sonic sat on the couch, his feet on the table. As he heard Amy knock, he groaned and sat up straight. It's her again, he muttered in an annoyed tone as he got up and walked off to the door before opening it. Sonic, you didn't forget about our date tonight, right? Amy smiled before turning to just walk off. It's probably a joke since Sonic promises Amy a date here and there, mostly when being out of character, and he continuously forgets about them. Sonic facepalmed before closing the door again. He walked back to the couch before sitting down, noticeably sad. He looked up at something. The screen turned black again. Oh, come on, I muttered angrily, but I decided to wait again, hoping none of these messages would pop up, but it did. Murdered me, the voice whispered this time. A picture flashing for a split second. Being on my computer, I could reverse the player to the exact point the picture flashed, and I was quite surprised at what I saw. It was Princess Sally. She didn't have a new style or anything. She looked like she did in the much better cartoon show Sonic the Hedgehog, aka Sonic Sat-Am. She was staring at the screen. Her face looked bland and empty. She was missing her mouth, and the whole picture had a red tint to it, especially her, now crimson eyes. I snagged a screenshot of it, imported it to MS Paint, and saved it to my computer. I still have the file, called it sally.png. I continued to play the file. It took a while for the screen to return again, and the picture of Sally disturbed me, but also made me happy. Did Sega not forget about Princess Sally after all? The screen returned. It had a faint white border to show it was a flashback scene. Does anybody remember Rosie the Rascal? The actual sweet pink little girl before that other pink bitch showed up. Yes, she was walking along a forest, humming a playful tune. I think she was voiced by Cream's voice actor, only using a different voice pitch. Rosie entered a house that I couldn't really recognize. It was a wooden hut with hay for a roof. The camera cut to inside. Most of the things inside were made of wood. At first I thought it was supposed to be something tribal, but then I noticed the handheld computer, Nicole, on the small round table. It hit me. Was this Princess Sally's hut? Indeed. The camera cut to Princess Sally, who looked very pretty in Sonic X style, by the way, staring out of the window. I hope Sonic will return from his mission soon. I'm worried about him. Sally's voice was the voice from the messages in the black screen. Rosie stood there, looking at Sally in the background.
Are you Sally Acorn?
Rosie asked curiously as Sally whipped around, startled by Rosie. Who might you be? Rosie's smile faded and her expression was blank.
Answer me.
Sally blinked a few times, but she answered anyway. Yes, I am. The camera zoomed in on Rosie's face, front shot, which isn't usual.
And you love Sonic, right? And Sonic loves you.
Sally seemed irritated at that, standing up. Who are you? She asked again, sounding unnerved. Rosie didn't stop staring at Sally with those hateful, brownish red eyes.
That me.
The screen cut to black a final time. Loving Sally, I yelled out in dismay. Why would Sega do this? To me. To Sally. I've waited, tears welling up in my eyes. Be there, please. Be there. Live. The file ended. I let my head sink down on my arms, sobbing softly. Sally would never come back. Those bastards at the company murdered her, and nobody would remember her. I stayed that way for a few more minutes before realizing I still had that other file. Hoping Sally would still be alive on it, I clicked the preset folder and opened the second DVD file. Black screen like before. I've waited, still sniffing, being too lazy to blow my nose. The Sally image flashed again. Sonic, Sally's voice whispered. Another image flashed across the screen of my laptop. It was the same image, but the white part of her eyes were gone. Another picture of Sally, now her pupils missing, leaving her eyes as empty black voids. Not. The picture stayed this time, followed by a long silence. I was about to close the file, starting to sob again, but then I noticed the picture was changing. Black, gooish tears started to run down Sally's cheeks, slowly, very slowly. Suddenly, a loud screech interrupted me. Reddish light was now in place of her pupils, staring right at me. I jumped and those red pupils followed mine wherever I moved. Free. The image disappeared, and the screen went to black again. I sighed and looked toward the ground. But soon after that, I heard the sound of wind blowing from my speakers. I looked at the screen again. Sonic was there, standing in the middle of a graveyard. He bent down to one of the tombstones, which was empty. The camera showed his sad face as he said, "Goodnight, my princess," in a gentle, loving tone as he set some flowers beside the tombstone before he left. Right as Sonic was out of sight, Amy came over, looking down at the empty tombstone angrily. She scoffed, "I can't believe he still won't give up," before she raised her hammer and yelled before smashing the tombstone as the file ended. I sighed sadly and closed the DVD player. When I looked at the files, the DVD files were gone. Instead of them, I saw a text file. I really didn't want to, but I opened it anyway. Amy was not supposed to exist. She was created to replace 2@11Y. Enough. I closed the text file in the folder, but I didn't have time to recover as I was staring at Princess Sally, replacing my desktop.